Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pit Talk, Pulling Pit and Opinions with your host, Gunny G, where service members help service member period. Follow, like, subscribe everywhere you get your podcast and on most social media platforms. Let us know how we're doing. Any criticism is good criticism. We got a special guest hailing in from Washington. He'll fill you in here in a second by the name of Jake, aka Vets in Crypto, Twitter famous. We had to have him on. So, Jake, can you say hi to the listeners for me?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? My fellow devil dog.
Hey, everybody. Jake, let's just get right into it. I know your time's precious. We're both not getting paid for this. We're just kind of doing this to chop it up and network, right? Where you from originally? How long you serve? What branch? And we'll go from there.
Yeah. So hailed out of the Midwest, out of the Chicago area, and so that makes me a Hollywood Marine. So I've been out, 20 plus years. So I'm yeah. Anyway, so a Hollywood Marine, went in a month right after boot camp. I personally didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wasn't ready for college. First off, looking at my older brother and everything, he was just kind of partying and wasting people's money. So I learned from him. I had, I guess, that insight from him. At first, actually, like some people, like you hear the story a lot. Like I went to the Army first. I went knocking on their door, and they didn't want me. Long story short, went knocked on the Marines, and they welcomed me in with open arms. Sometimes things are just meant to be. I've heard similar stories. People, come on our door, then they end up in the Navy, Army. Yeah, you kind of look at them, and it's like, yeah, it suits you. Yeah. It's crazy how it kind of fits the profile, actually.
Right.
It's a thing, I think, for sure. So MCRD, Hollywood Marine, watching those planes take off from the airport from San Diego, So I was in from 96 to 2000. I did a Westpac, so I was on like MSSG, Marine Service Support Group 13. Okay, let's back up. So my MOS, military occupation specialty, I was a 1345,
Okay.
a heavy equipment operator. So HE,
Yeah.
so material and earth, all that good stuff. So, and that suited me as far as being a hands-on person and whatnot. That all lined up for me. So I was stationed down in Del Mar, it's the 21 area in Camp Pendleton, California. Was my home duty station. Like I had a good experience. Like, dude, like my balcony was like I had ocean view. Like down in Del Mar, it's right on the water. You got the beach. If anyone knows, they know. Just, man, crazy parties on the holidays, the 96ers, all that. It was good times. Not everybody has a good experience when they're in the Corps and whatnot. I did. I knew I wasn't a lifer as well, so I didn't re-up. I didn't sign another contract. I did 4 years, honorable discharge, good conduct, all that. It just, I don't know, did my time, got in, got out. It is what it is. But it stays with you to this day. Boot camp, 3 months of hell. It's ingrained in your fiber, your being, in your soul, and who you are. Like step one, make your bed. You get out and you make your fucking bed and start your day. For a long time we were doing Marine Corps reunions. Just whoever was local. Well, not even local. Just it was more geared around the Midwest because it was easier for everybody to fly into the middle of the country and whatnot. It varied. Whoever can get there gets there. Bring your family, what have you. And usually the further we can be away from other humans, the better, because of all the debauchery. One of the good ones was we made our way out to West Virginia.
Wow.
So one of our brothers, his last name is Furby. So true West Virginian, down in the holler, good old boy. I mean, as good as they get. And I mean, like the sheriff lived a couple farms down, like. But it was all good. Like we were just having good, wholesome fun, shooting all day, barbecuing, having good times. But anyway, it's good to stay in touch with your peeps. Facebook is for, your parents, this or that. However, it has worked really well for staying in touch with fellow devil dogs and your brothers and your sisters for that matter. So Facebook works really good as far as that and staying in touch with each other. Like, I hardly go on there, but if I want to see what people are up to, friends and whatnot, That's always kind of that one place where we can circle back and find each other and touch base if need be, what have you. So it's crazy. I know I'm kind of jumping all over, but it's crazy how with all the different forms of communication these days, like everybody chooses a different platform. Some choose WhatsApp, Signal, like we're here on this platform. I'm more of a YouTube guy from that standpoint. So I'll circle back. So I was stationed at Pendleton, working in Del Mar, worked my way up from, private to, I got out of the E4, corporal E4, did corporal course right there in Del Mar and everything. I just kept volunteering. So I knew I wanted to go do my job. I wanted to be the tip of the spear. I wanted to see what it was like to be, out there, floating around, doing your job, etc. Out in the fleet. It's like you train. Now I want to do my job, right? So you're the bottom guy on the pole, right? You're down in the lot, having your formations and playing games and, TMing. I'm an heavy equipment guy, so we're always fixing TMing the same shit over and over and over, cleaning the same batteries. Just looking busy, man. It's the same shit. It is what it is. Keeps you out of trouble, keeps you honest, right?
Yeah.
So going through that, I saw my fellow brothers and sisters kept volunteering for different operations, So we have POGs, which is like Port Operation Group. So we would go down to San Diego and we would load, as the ships were coming in and out, the Muse and stuff, we would go down there and load all the material stuff on and off the flatbed, stage it in the lot. And then boom, we'd be on I'm working on the piers, loading everything from dozers, the whatever pallets, whatever it was, right? So we're working by the water. Sometimes we go up to Port Wainini, work up there on the Navy base, and up there we were working with like these ratchet handlers. They move, they come down the big pineapples, they hook on the Connex, the shipping containers, and you're moving those big ass 53-foot containers around and shit, the big ass thing, stacking them like 3 high and all that. So it was just for me. It was a good gig, right?
That sounds fun though. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I mean it was a job. So eventually I get picked for NSSG 13, right? Marine Service Support Group. There I transfer over to main side. So I think what was it? Whatever area that is, 22 or the double D's, man. Well, maybe 13, but man, God, we hang out the double D's, bro. Well,
22
anyway,
area.
yeah, that was Well, I think that if I recall correctly, it was like that was way back. Like nobody like messed with us. I don't know in the
No, it
barracks
was
back there.
back in 1990. We said 1994, man. That wasn't even built up. It was some old little dirt. Is across right now. It's across from the strip, this air station.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there was an E club. I don't know if there's an E club over there or not. Or maybe that's just we just coined it as that's where we were from. Our barracks were and stuff back in '96. So at that point, I was in at '96. I did the Mew at like '99, so '99 to 2000. So we had our work up, right, and all that, doing CAC out there at the Stump, 29 Palms, doing all that good fun stuff, So yeah, man. So we'd be all right. So jump to another thing here. So we're out packs and stuff, right? So we want to get the great idea to let's do some material handling in the pitch black, wearing NVGs, all this, you're trying to get your fork tines, and you not jack up the side of the LVS and shit like that, and like it was tough, man. Especially their stick goggles back then, like like you could see all the fucking blurry. You don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
You're like, I think it's straight. You got a brown guide. Somebody's right there telling you, up, down, whatever.
Yeah.
But what can you do? But one of the funnest things I got to do when I was out at CAX was I did we went up in a CH-46 and I got to shoot a 50 cal
Right.
out of a CH-46. We had some targets and rubber tires and shit on the ground and stuff, and so I don't know, it was little
It
things.
sounds
So.
like a good time. Man. I don't know. You had a good time. Sounds like.
Yeah, it is what it is. So did 13th Mew. It was just timing, man. We put ourselves out there. Our time, just didn't get called. We were floating around. It was right before things got stupid, So every 2 weeks, we're in a Libo port, obviously in and out of Hawaii. We're in Hong Kong for New Year's, hit Phuket, Bali, Australia. God bless. That was a great time. Oh my God. Yeah, God bless them. Did a month in Mombasa, Kenya. And so there we actually did a little bit of work. We did for like 3 or 4 days. We did a humanitarian operation, Port Reef clinic, the medical clinic there. We just helped out. So I was part of the engineer detachment in the Marine Service Support Group. So we had bulk fuelers, carpenters, water guys, did the ROPU showers,
Yeah.
bulk fuelers, heavy equipment, electricians, right? Like we set up the camp in the middle of the desert, right? We're those guys, building the berm, the whole
Yeah.
9 yards. So
Doing the
we
Lord's
worked
work,
for
dude.
3 days. Yeah, man. So we worked for 3 days at the clinic. We're taking convoys, right, from the ship, through town. We're locked and loaded. You have your locals escorting us there, blah, blah, blah. We get there, we pack up our rifles while we're working during the day and stuff. We're like building benches, porta-johns, beds, redoing some interior work, etc. The Navy's doing processing. So the Navy can only process so many people for medical treatment. So whether it's dental, eye vision, what have you, doing the locals. Each day, the word would spread that we were there and free medical and this and that, right? So each day, the line would get bigger. The capacity hasn't changed. We can only still facilitate so many people and process so many people getting seen. By the third day, tensions are getting pretty high because the locals just want assistance, and they're shaking the gate, they're getting a little rowdy, this and that, and for Muse, you train for riot, for going in, doing the embassies, like you had to go in, right, secure that and fly everybody out, all that good stuff. So anyway, so nothing came of that. Fortunately, it died down, but it was just a shame that we couldn't help everybody, bottom
Yeah.
line. So after that, we partied on the resorts for the rest of the month. Eventually, we got a bomb threat. Al Qaeda found out that we were there, and then we left real quick. We were back out in the ocean. So after 90 days out in the water, you get like 2 beers. After 90 days, you get 2 beers, right? So you're bartering, and, like, hey man, what can I give you for your beer ticket? This and that, and yada yada. And I'm like, dude, man, like, dudes would be drinking like Listerine and shit, like stupid stuff, man. Yeah, man. Fuck, dude. Just crazy shit. Cologne, or I don't know, man. Just anything with alcohol,
Well,
like
yeah.
for some people. So then we went up to the Gulf. We just spent a month in Kuwait. We unloaded all of our crap and went out to the desert. Built up a camp in the middle of nowhere and provided all the utilities, electric, everything. And we spent a month out there and then packed it all up and hit Bahrain and did all that. So on your way back, when you hit Hawaii back before you come back to California, they do a Tiger cruise. So your loved ones and friends, you have the option, the ability to bring them on board with you from Hawaii as you cruise from Hawaii back to San Diego.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. Not so cool when you're enlisted because you're still down in the pit and like life sucks,
Yeah.
compared to if you're an officer and eating the good chow. But man, everything changes when the civvies come on board. Oh, the food, the steak, the lobster, like everything comes out, right? The taxpayers are on board. It gets better.
Yeah.
It never, single stuff doesn't fail. So that's how it goes. But it's super cool. So I did that. Quick story. I did that as an enlisted. I didn't bring anybody on when I did that. But however, fast forward, my cousin who was a CAG on the Nimitz, I got to be on the Tiger cruise as his guest. So
Oh.
he was the CAG, like the number 2 guy in the boat, right?
Yeah.
So life was really awesome. So now we're sleeping, like fast forward 20 years later, I get to see what the other half lives like, right? Go upstairs,
Yeah.
So like I got a card key for the quarters, where all the officers, the pilots sleep and all this stuff. And, eating in the officer's mess and whatnot, and sitting in a briefing, and it was just a cool, different perspective from where I was 20 years as an enlisted to seeing how they operate upstairs and all that good stuff. Yeah,
That's
but
good, Jake. That's awesome. Look, I tell you what, that sounds like you had a blast on them. Hopefully, obviously, you came back safe, so thank you. But I would say thank you for your service. Back in 1996, 2000 was a different time for everybody, right? But you transitioned now from Pendleton. Where'd you go from there? Or you stayed in Cali?
no, oh fuck, man. So get back off the boat, right? You have 2 weeks to live out, right? So I go back home to the Midwest, right? So yeah, man. So the first pretty girl gave me the time of day, like had my attention. And, so 2 weeks later, I get back to Cali. She flies out to Cali. We elope. A month later, she's pregnant, and we elope out there and whatnot in Cali. And now I'm checking out. Fast forward 9 months, the kid's born. Hey, that's $50 I ever spent, man. It was, to have the kid born in the naval hospital. It was $50. You can't beat that, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can't beat that. Good stuff. So then a month later, after the kid's born, pack up the U-Haul and head back to the Midwest. And I've been an entrepreneur ever since I got out of the service, out of the
Hmm.
Corps. Went in was doing satellite installations and stuff, and now I'm just a specialty contractor, what have you. So have employees, etc., and that kind of leads me into freeing up some time. So I front loaded my life, did all the hard shit up front, working hard and grinding as a contractor and everything and whatnot. And so now I live out in Seattle, having employees and whatnot that frees up my life, a little bit to a degree, to explore the crypto side, right? So hence the name Vets in Crypto. So I started in 2017. I was mining Ethereum, with a lot of help. A lot of people walked me through setting all that up and everything. I'm not a computer guy or anything. But doing the satellite stuff and troubleshooting will help me. I can plug stuff in and follow directions and all that. They gave me enough crayons to paint the picture, and I figured
Yeah.
it out, So got through that, and then only like the last 4 years did I found a community. I got into Hex.com. Is you're staking your coins, and it's a way for you to self custody your crypto. So what we saw, so you fast forward this last bear. So it's been a long bear market. Jesus, people are losing their minds right now. This shit needs to turn around. Like, it's been brutal. But that's a good sign though, because we're close. We're close. Anyways, so I'll leave the commander in chief stuff alone. But we're hoping for the right person to get in that's crypto friendly. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So fast forward, get into that. Oh, so what was happening is people were giving up their self custody of their crypto to these exchanges like Free Arrows, Sam Bankman-Fried with FTX. Well, give us your tokens and we'll give you 20% yield. This and that. Well, you don't have custody because you just gave them your stuff in hopes that the stranger on the internet is going to give you X amount of yield or APR for holding this stuff. Well, they're using your stuff as collateral to get more money and everything. So it was just a huge like Ponzi scheme. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
And eventually, because you gave up the custody of your tokens, you got jack shit. You got nothing. They went poof. It's not FDIC insured or anything like that. So that's where you get into, like, there's a difference between a central exchange, a CEX, CEX, central exchange. For example, like Coinbase. Coinbase is a central exchange. Obviously, they're public now and whatnot, but very clearly, even in their term, if they go belly up, if you have crypto with them, if they go belly up, it's theirs. You don't own it. Now, if you're holding cash, right? So you transfer, and I always recommend doing a wire transfer from your bank account into like let's say Coinbase, for example, because it goes instant, right? Yes, you're paying a $25 fee, yeah, etc. But when you're trying to get something in money, and move money in a timely fashion, ACH, automatic check clearing, takes forever. That's like multiple days. And then if you're new, you're just setting up a new account, like they'll put your stuff on freeze. It'll be
Yeah.
held for like 5-7 days, and you may miss a window to get in an opportunity, right, to speculate on something. That's all crypto is, speculation, right? So the number one rule is don't invest money that don't invest more than you're willing to lose. Don't ever, put your rent money, pay all your bills first. Like all this stuff has to be done because people just over leverage. They take out loans and things. Oh, this is a for sure thing. It's going to go. It doesn't always work out that way. There's hard lessons to be learned. A lot of people follow the wrong people. There's influencers on YouTube and this and that. Well, while these influencers are telling you, promoting one thing, they already have a bunch of the supply and they're cheating, selling on the back end. They'll promote, tell you to buy, but on the back end, these assholes are selling on the back end, etc. So you got to watch who you follow, and all that is the big thing. Self-custody is what is key. Meaning you wanna open up your own wallet, whether it's MetaMask or a Rabby wallet. Rabby wallet so far, like I made the transition from MetaMask to Rabby. Now these are like a browser extension. So if you go to like Google extension for your browser and you type in MetaMask or Rabby and make sure you have like the blue check mark. Everything, you gotta verify everything. Everything. There's so many scams out there. For those of you that are on X and stuff, Twitter, you'll see that like anything with money. People, the scammers, they create fake profiles. Even like if I was clicking on your site, Gunny, like you want to make sure. Like I know Gunny has like 50,000 people, right? But next thing I see, Gunny likes something of mine. I click on it. He only has 100 followers. Or, his follow, yeah, 100 followers. These are little indicators. You got to verify stuff. It's just, there's so many scams, in the crypto world. We like to verify things through multiple sources before clicking on anything. Because you are always just one click away from losing everything.
Yeah.
That's how good that's how good these guys are.
Jake, how did you get what made you call it Vets in Crypto? What gave you
Thank
the
you.
name?
Yeah, let me circle back there. My last piece on security is a hardware wallet. So I recommend Rabby. Rabby's been great, but then I like Trezor. There's Ledger and Trezor. So, and the last thing I'll say on that is order it directly from the manufacturer. Do not order that kind of stuff from Amazon because people intercept it. They put, malware and stuff on it, put the
Wow.
security seal back on, and ship it to you. Now everything you do is keylog, and they got the keys of the kingdom, man. So,
Wow.
so that's my last piece of there. So, that's in crypto. So I was trying to find a niche because everybody does technical analysis and all of these things. I was really trying to find a niche, and there's a lot of military veterans and first responders in the crypto world, right? I just, just observing for 2 or 3 years. I was like, I want to do something. I want to pay it forward, create something. So thus I started for a couple years running just the name, Vets in Crypto. For a while it was spelled with a K, because that was when the 3-letter agencies were all up in Twitter and Google and
Mhm.
like during COVID and all that. And there was no freedom of speech. They're curb stomping you left and right. Like it was ugly. So thank God Elon had taken over X. So talk about freedom of speech and everything we believe in and fight for. A lot of people want to destroy that piece of paper, that thing called the Constitution.
Yeah.
But not on our watch, man. Like no,
I
no.
would say, I mean, look, those rules that I gave you a long time ago earlier, they're for me. They're not for you. So you can stay and do as you please.
Yeah.
You're just
Oh,
FYI, right? But back to Vets in Crypto with a K, Go ahead.
Yeah, so now, fast forward, Elon takes over X and all that. You don't have to worry about all that stuff and the C word, all that, blah blah blah. The virus, the kung fu virus and shit, And so now it's just bets in crypto, common spelling, what have you. I actually created a 501c3 corporation, nonprofit corporation.
Oh,
That's how legit and serious. Because you do see these people, these scammers that'll create and they'll be like, oh, we're for charity. Give us your money. We'll put it towards a good cause, this and that. And like, nah, man. So through DeFi, decentralized finance, you want it to be like automated. The big thing is like you want to cut out the middleman, right? And that's the whole thing with the central banking and this whole CBDC, the central bank digital dollar. That's a bad thing, people. You do not want that because you will not have privacy. The government will know absolutely everything you do when it's a
amen.
digital dollar. When
Yeah.
you change in that cash is king. If cash is king, that's saying it's true. True. So anyway, so to pay it forward to veterans and first responders, I created a YouTube channel, Vets in Crypto. I have a co-host, Randy Hilarski. He's a Navy veteran. He's an expat, actually, because when he got out of the Navy in Panama, that's where he was stationed down in Panama.
Wow.
And so when he got out, there's a lot of Americans, expats in Panama, actually. He married a local down there and has a kid and all that and whatnot, and it's worked out well for him. So we do a weekly show covering everything just from just chopping it up with it. And, like we hope to, if this goes well, maybe you'll come on our show, like to chop it up with you, It's laid back if you catch an episode or two. If you just go into YouTube, type in Vets in Crypto, CRYPTO, you'll pull it up and see all the different stuff we do and highlight and whatnot from there. So it's all about veterans and first responders. We raise enough money. We have a public address and whatnot, and it's out there. Everyone can see anything that comes into it. Ultimately, we want to pay it forward to like tunnels to towers.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of Manion Foundation, etc. Right? EOD warriors, etc. Just to pay it forward, man. So like we all believe, like crypto's gonna work out and it's gonna do good. Well, can we not pay it forward and give something back to those communities and the reasons why we are where we are and have the
Yeah.
ability to do what we do for where we're at? So
That's awesome, Greg. That's really good, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. 501c. I've heard about that before as well. Bets in crypto. I'll make sure I'll hit that YouTube follow and subscribe.
yeah,
I'll tell you what, it's all about giving back to the veterans. It's all about giving back to service members, and you're doing it. You're paying it forward really well, and I appreciate that, man. Because when I get out, but what makes you different than And I gotta ask, obviously crypto's crypto. I don't know too much about it. I don't have.
yeah,
To be honest, I'm not that interested in it, but it does seem very lucrative, right? When it does pay out. What makes you
yeah.
different than these crypto people than you? What's the biggest difference between you and them?
So there's many different tokens and chains. L1 layer 1 chains. So an L1 is like Ethereum, for example, right? Bitcoin is a layer 1, right? So those entities, it's all dependent upon how they're ran. So Solana, people are going crazy right now, blah blah blah. But there's a Solana overall is a centralized L1, meaning that there's people that can control it, that can turn it off. No single person or group of people, if it's true decentralized finance, should be able to flip a switch and turn something off. So when it's true decentralized finance, it's immutable, it's self-custody. Nobody once the code is launched out into the wild, it's out there forever. It can't be shut down, it can't be removed. There's no middlemen. So transition from what I was explaining before, like a SEX, a central exchange,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of fees. So they like Coinbase, they make their money from the fees. Everything you do, there's a fee. but there's middlemen. I mean, these guys, these people working and whatnot, they're the ones making the money. So you transition to what's called a DEX, DEX, Delta Echo X-ray. How about that? Um, and so a DEX is a decentralized exchange, and that is a where it's immutable. It's just automatic. It's just you and the code. So I want to swap token A for token B. I put that number in there, and it does it. It's automatic. It's in the code. It does it. The platform, the protocol gets a small, 0.021% of the fee. Depending on how they design it, let's say like PulseX goes back to a buy and burn and reduces the supply of that native tokens for that exchange, things like that. So it's a big, long topic, but self-custody, immutable things, something that's not centralized is what, the camp that I'm in. I'm in a camp of self-custody and decentralized finance, not centralized and giving people it's like we say no middleman,
Yeah.
you all cut them out.
Absolutely. More money for you, right? More money for, the individual investor, rather than me going there and there and there and then getting my cut, right? They get, instead of
Yeah.
getting their cut first, I get my cut first. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference. That would definitely reel me in. So that's awesome. I tell you what,
Yeah.
how long have you been doing bets, in crypto with Randy?
I mean, maybe a year. Yeah, maybe a year. I mean, not super long. A few months, coming up to a year. Yeah. So he has a group. So one thing I learned. So initially, I was running around Twitter and YouTube and trying to glean bits and little nuggets of information here and there. What's the greatest? What's hottest? How should I make my play? This and that. But it takes a lot of time. You're
Yeah.
watching like a 3-hour YouTube stream just to glean one or two nuggets, and this and that. And you only have so much time, right?
Yeah.
So like this cycle, I've joined a couple of different private paid groups. So like Randy Hilarski holds one called No Permissions. So he uses a platform called Patreon. So you go on to Patreon, pay your monthly, and then that gives you access to, they have private Telegram groups and that, this and that. And you have now a group of trusted individuals in
Yeah.
that community that have each other's interest in security at mind, right? You're not just
Yeah.
dealing with Joe Blow stranger on the internet. Now these are vetted people. They're paying into it, so we're all scouring, getting information and then bringing it back. And then we'll have a Zoom call like twice a week, and we go over what we have, what's hot, what's going on,
Yeah.
share information, all of that. So from a time standpoint, it helps a lot. It's dramatic. It helps a lot.
That's
So
good. I'd say I'm about to do my little research, see what's going on. I know you invited me to a group, and I'm in there reading all the comments and reading what you post. It's interesting stuff. I'll tell you
yeah,
what, you got out back in. Well, we're gonna kind of recap. Well, you got back out in 2000. You have a family, yes, no, maybe so, wife, kids, yeah,
yeah, whole 9 yards, family and everything, living the dream. Yeah,
entrepreneur, that's in crypto. You got a good thing going. But all that does weigh on you, on your shoulders, in terms of providing as a husband, as a father, as a man, right? And then you have adversity, right? You got to build a little bit of resilience. How did this whole full circle, how did it affect you initially with your family, trying to find, all that good stuff to provide?
well, so let's start. So I was so right out of the gate, I had 20% disability from the VA. Now I am up to 70% pretty recently. So that would be the biggest thing is well, document everything, right? So I was fortunate, like people were passing the word down of, make sure everything is documented in your medical service record, like everything, right? Because that's going to come into play later on. And especially, go through the process when you check out, go like submit your claims or, you mess up your knee, whatever. Things that may not ail you now are going to fucking bite you in the ass 20 years later.
Yeah.
So we donate our bodies to the military, to the government. It doesn't give a shit about us. They tell us to do this, do that. We thrash our bodies. You don't think about it or feel it in the present while you're doing it, but you pay for it later in life.
Mm.
And whether like whether you're playing around in the sand in Kuwait before or after or what have you, I was burning trash. I was burning shit. Literally burning shit. We dumped diesel in the can, light it on fire. Maybe 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 you had a handkerchief or a t-shirt, wrapped around your face. You didn't know any better, right? And that's where like the PACT Act comes into play for those that are out and using the VA benefits and everything. And so list everything. There are private groups and organizations that'll help you navigate the VA and everything. They want to cut. They'll walk you through the process and what have you. But you're filing the paperwork and whatnot. You got to do the interviews with either do a psych eval or you go in and see the doc and they poke and prod and
Yeah.
whatnot. But because the VA, like they don't. Their job is like to find reasons why not to take care of you.
Interesting.
You got to look out.
I thought that was
You
the other way around. I thought they were finding reasons to take care of you. That's crazy. Anyways,
well,
continue.
well, they do and they don't, right? There's so much red tape that you need assistance in navigating how
Mm.
to get to that point, and that's why you see a lot of organizations that are out there that do help and assist. So do your research. Basically, bottom line is you're not going to pay anything unless you get awarded something. Once you do get awarded a percentage with the VA, that's for life. And that's non-taxable. You don't ever have to claim it. Your money, tax-free. You do whatever the hell you want with it. It's one of the best things ever. So once you get it, it's great. So do your research, file your claims, and you deserve it. Don't let yourself like this money is appropriated already years in advance. And then once you're in it. Yeah, it goes up with Social Security as far as cost of living and what have you. So once you're in, it goes up incrementally based on everything. But man, you did your time. You may think I'm gonna, I have buddies all the time. They're like, I don't deserve it. They're trash. They're infantry guys, but they have bad knees, bad back. But hey, man, I got all my limbs. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna save the money for the next guy. Who
Yeah.
really needs it. Blah blah. It's get out of your own way, and because like you did your time, you deserve that rating. Take care of yourself, what have you. That money is already appropriated. Like don't people got to get that thinking out of their head.
Yeah. That's it. That's good. You touch on it. Get out of your own way, man. You deserve it. You did your time honorably.
Yeah,
Take advantage of what the I mean, play the game just like they're playing, right? They're taking your time. Let's take advantage of the
yeah,
chess game and make the right moves for you and your family. Absolutely, take advantage fully.
100%.
And I plan on it when I retire as well to take advantage of the benefits
Yeah,
that I get after my honorable service. So to those
yeah,
listening, hey, Jake said it. I'm saying it. It's not shameful. Let go of your pride, your ego out the door. We say it in the weight room, and leave your ego at the door. We're all here to do the same thing and lift weights. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you lift as long as you're here getting
yeah.
better.
You're here. You came into the weight room, right? You're here. Like, you're like that's half the battle.
Absolutely. Again, that's good gouge, Jake. Thank you for that. I do got to ask though, we live in a current culture where we're having more suicides, we're having more mental health with our service members prior to and during combat or during wartime eras. And now we're suffering for some odd reason. We're suffering, you can't pinpoint what or who or why. There's numbers everywhere. You could say whatever you want about it, but we're suffering. There's mental health
Yeah.
issues. There's service members are
Yep.
committing suicide. We got to give back to the community in that way, and we got to provide tools for the toolbox. Jake, what
Yeah.
has helped you along the way, 20 plus years later, and you're still thriving? I'm not saying that you're the perfect, pea in the pea pot, but
Yep.
everybody has their struggles. But what are you doing now that's helping you and your family and those around you?
Yeah. So, well, first off, the Marine reunions, right? Being around your fellow brothers, your comrades, being around like-minded individuals is everything. That helps. Just letting others know that you're there for them. ears open, listen and just be a good friend, if you are in that regard. You start a community. Anybody can do something, start something. But yeah, the suicide rate is crazy. We got to help each other. I have a cousin that's Navy EOD. He has breachers syndrome and stuff, from breaching doors and just blowing shit up, that's just what they do, right? It's a real thing, the PTSD and all that. And, they try different things, what have you. Some of it is, counseling, talking to somebody. If you just bottle it up and don't tell anybody, like my neighbor, man, he was in Iraq, and like whenever we would drink heavy, it would come out, and like he'd be in the fetal position, just rocking back and forth.
Wow.
And it's a real, yeah, man. So, but now I've talked to him about and his excuse was like, oh, I tried getting in the VA, they denied me. And this was years ago, right? And so we just kept, pushing him like, that was years ago. It's changed. The VA administration changes with every administration that comes into office.
Right.
So some years they may be like a lot of no's and cancellations. Different administration comes in and they're approving everybody. You just got to play the game and know who's in, if they're friendly or not friendly. Unfortunately, it's not an unbiased thing. I hate to say it. It should
Yeah.
be, but it's not, unfortunately. The VA's gotten better and worse here and there. There's now finally some community care, like under Trump presidency, they opened up community care. So if you're not, close enough, or you're outside a certain range of a veterans hospital, or if appointments are longer than 30 days, then you have the right to choose community care, which means you can go visit a chiropractor or get some
Huh.
physical therapy like 5 minutes from your house.
That's awesome.
Just the other day, the ear infection, and I used urgent care. So in this area, we have Indigo Urgent Care, and they are in the VA circle for insurance, what have you, like TRICARE, what have you, right? But the caveat with that is they cannot look you up in the system. There's no way for them to look you up in the system. You have to ask them to call to verify your status. And I did that. I actually got turned away. They're like, we can't verify, blah, 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 because they're trying to find stuff on the computer. So I got turned away, but I didn't give up. I went to the car. I was like, dude, and I know these guys are in network, So I started doing some, got on the VA.gov, pulled it up and found a phone number. Called the phone number. I'm sitting in the parking lot. Guy's like, yeah, telling me what I just told you. They got to call in, give them this number. It's 24/7. They'll give us your name and your last four. We'll verify, tell them you're in network, and everything's covered. Went back in, followed that guy's instructions, and I got seen. At no out-of-pocket expense.
Yeah.
So
It's
just
awesome.
do your due diligence and research stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Community care sounds like a legit deal. I mean, you're so far away from the VA and VA hospitals. Hey, thank you, President Trump, for 45th. I appreciate that, implementing that policy. I do got to say, the ones that are not here no more that made that ultimate decision, or took that ultimate decision, and instead take that step forward. If you could speak to them right now and give them the advice that would help them before they made the decision, what would it be?
To join or suicide?
No, mental health, suicide, that part.
Just maybe some of us at one point in time or another have dealt with that demon. Those voices in your head sometimes can get loud, and hopefully, there's a lot of phone numbers out there, and call this and call that. But if you're really having a mental breakdown, like you yourself may not know to call or have that capacity. So the more people and the more information like this that we spread and we put out there and make people aware that this is a thing, and that if you see somebody in distress that needs help, to be that person to talk, listen, or do the research and call that mental health crisis phone number for them. And going back to the voices getting loud in your head and stuff, sometimes depending on what people are taking pharmaceutical wise, it hasn't been a good thing, because sometimes a lot of times the VA is pumping the veterans with a lot of pharmaceuticals, and sometimes the pharmaceuticals don't agree with them, and that's when they have episodes or issues. The VA is finally starting to experiment with marijuana and mushrooms, HC, and what's the mushroom name? Anyways, anyways, they're doing a lot more research for the mental health side of it, and I've talked to plenty of veterans they're out that have used marijuana, whatever form. And nowadays there's edible, there's drop, what have you. That has helped them wean themselves off of the bad pharmaceuticals, and help them keep an even enough feel to keep their fit together.
Yeah.
So there's other avenues, other approaches besides big pharma. Big pharma is not our friend, people. Like, we have to find other alternatives. It's not the cure-all out there by any means. So for me, when I went down that brief rabbit hole, I thought of my kid. When I finally circled back and checked off all the different reasons and things, I wanted to live for my kid. Wanted to be around for my kids, bottom line. So for me, it was La Familia. I didn't want to be selfish, bottom line. So
That's good.
for everybody, it's different, but
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, that's good, right? For you, is your kids, is your family, but you circled back and you found purpose, right?
yeah,
At the end of the day, you found purpose. And for those that are listening and for those that are struggling and considering taking that 30-inch step in that direction, I'd say circle back. What got you here? What purpose do you have? And if you can't find one, go ask and look for one
yeah,
and circle back.
join a
And find,
group, doing
yeah.
something that is fulfilling. Perhaps you're missing something that doesn't complete you.
Hmm.
Whether it's a hobby, even. There are so many veteran groups out there. Through life, I don't have a single set of friends. I have multiple sets of friends that like to do different hobbies and like to do different things, whether it's camping, skydiving, shooting, what have you. Not, like, not everybody likes to do the same thing you do, right? So you find other sets of friends, and hopefully there's some military friends, because you just get each other. And
Yeah.
regardless of the branch that you're in, you all do share a common bond and can share similar stupid ass stories and experiences, and that's the bond. Like, when you're out there camping around a fire and shooting the shit, that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely, Jake. Hey, Jake, thank you for your time, for your knowledge in crypto. Who should we look for? What do we look for? This mental health advice for those suffering with mental health and taking that 30-inch step here. Hopefully, we deterred some of them.
Yeah, man.
I would say, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't follow Jake Invest in Crypto, hit him up on Twitter, YouTube, whatever else you're on, hit him up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pit Talk, Pulling Pits and Opinions with your host, Gunny G, and Jake with Vets in Crypto, where service members help service member, period. Follow, like, everywhere you get your podcast and on all social media platforms. So that's how we're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we out. Jake, I'll show up later, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Podcast featuring active service members who discuss their thoughts and opinions on various issues surrounding military life, current events, and history. The statements heard here are the opinions of its members and guests. These do not necessarily reflect the views of the Department of Defense and are not endorsed or sponsored in any way. Listener, viewer discretion advised.